to start right now.
Yeah, you can cut whatever you want after
No,
that.
I usually don't cut anything. It doesn't
Oh,
matter.
okay. Yeah, okay. Fair
So I
enough.
guess the last time we had a conversation on the internet, it was almost a year ago. If
Oh
you
yeah.
remember. Yeah, we
On the
discussed.
internet?
Yeah, like we had a
You
podcast.
mean like on the podcast? Yeah.
Yeah,
It was in person though.
yeah.
Oh, it was
So
fun.
what happened with you after like this
After I
conversation?
moved to the US,
Yeah.
or well, after that conversation, I think, well, I oh, it's hard to remember really. It was a year ago, right?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I moved to the US.
Hmm.
I'm pretty happy about it. Like, I don't remember anything that happened before I moved to the US anymore
Really?
because the life here is completely different. Yeah, well, of course I do remember my friends and family, and I talk to them every once in a while, but
Hmm.
for the most part, like the lifestyle here is totally different from the lifestyle that I had in Russia
In which way?
in multiple ways. First of all, the weather. Because of
Hmm.
the weather, I always feeling more energized, you know?
Hmm. Is it
Like right
warm?
now,
Is it warm
yeah,
there?
it's super warm right now.
Okay.
Actually, let's see what the temperature is right now. Uh, yeah, it's around 15 degrees Celsius.
Oh, okay. Good
So
winter.
it's pretty decent. Yeah, good winter.
Hmm. How
I
about
love it.
people? How about people? Are there different people than in Russia?
Uh, well, it's really hard to tell. I mean, people are the same everywhere pretty much. Of course, they have like different views on the world, probably. Well, I would say I'm getting closer and closer to their worldview
Hmm.
because I'm constantly getting exposed to like the English content as well as the political part
Hmm.
of this
Hmm.
discussion.
Hmm.
Uh, and I find myself to be more left-leaning than I was before because I feel like I just got more educated on in this regard, and yeah, it's super helpful, super
So
useful, and yeah, I
you
became more open-minded. I think it just expanded my worldview, kind of.
Mhm.
So
What made an impact on you? Like communication or learning or like,
yeah, first of all, we had these like uh, I don't know what they're called, like probably lectures
mhm,
from Fulbright, and we were told about like different political things, right? Like racism,
mhm,
acceptance of different minority groups, and so on and so forth. And also the whole political um, picture of the US. And well, I just found, and I took this test, um, political compass or whatever, and I found myself to be like more left leaning,
mhm,
and that's how I realized that I'm actually having like left views.
mhm.
Well,
Can you can
actually, I feel like I always had them. It's just I never knew about it, and well, I was really bad at politics before that, but now a little bit more knowledgeable.
do you have some philosophy lectures there at the university?
At the university now,
Oh,
because well, we actually have like this specific concentration on artificial intelligence,
mhm,
and like we only take 3 classes per semester, or 3 or 4 classes, and each class is super in depth. So you kind of um, you concentrate on the subject. For example, like data science. Well, I had 3 different subjects,
mhm,
like fundamentals of AI. Oh no, it's actually called software development for AI.
mhm,
And we had like 2 huge projects there. Then we also had the NLP class, natural language processing. It was a pretty frustrating class, I'll be
mhm,
honest with you.
mhm,
And the last one is feature engineering. And so each class has a project, and on that project you need to work in teams. And that's pretty cool because like it allows you to get some more practical knowledge within the field, even though for me it was fairly easy because I already had some experience in the field, and other people didn't. So I was mostly like a leader of those teams, and I was kind of managing the project. But it was like the most frustrating part because some people didn't really want to work. Then some other people didn't know how to perform well and um, learn stuff. Like, yeah, I literally send them an article to read and like just copy the code from there, and they can't do that. And well, that was frustrating.
Are there people from different countries or everybody's American?
Yeah, there are people from different countries. I've seen people from China, Korea, India, and well, yeah, Mexico. And well, yeah, but I also attended this event. It's basically an international gathering or something like that. And I had to carry my flag. I don't know if I told you about this story. I think I sent you the picture, or maybe not. Maybe it was someone else.
I don't remember anything like that.
Okay. So I was carrying the Russian flag, and I saw people carrying their own flags, and there were so many people from different countries. Like there were people from the UK, from Spain, from all sorts of countries, like probably every single country in the world. It was a huge event. But honestly, it wasn't super like long. It was only 20 minutes. We were just walking with our flags, and then we just went home. And we also talked with each other a little bit.
Is there a big difference between studying artificial intelligence in Russian university and English university?
Well, in the Russian university, I didn't really study artificial intelligence, even though I did have like subjects connected to the field. Like it was called pattern recognition, and was probably one of my favorite subjects because of the professor, and also
on this you later build your two projects, like this dragon stuff and
oh yeah, but it's basically like those are my personal projects.
Are you still working on them, or you've
well,
done it?
I pretty much finished them. Why would I work on them even more?
I
I want to move
maybe,
on.
maybe.
I want to learn something new. Like, yeah, I built that architecture. I understood how it works. Now I want to move on and work on something else.
But
And
these team projects which you mentioned, like, are they? Are you doing these projects together with your colleagues, or it's like professors also involved, and they basically
well, the
supervise
professors
your?
are helping you out in case you don't know what to do and like how to tackle the project in case you have no experience whatsoever. But since I already had experience, I kind of just guided my teammates to like as to what they're supposed to do. And yeah, it pretty much worked out. But like the MLP class was really frustrating because like my teammates didn't really want to work, and then the professor herself was kind of, well, wasn't a great professor, I would say.
Okay.
To say the least.
Okay.
She well, she just copied lectures from Stanford, like not lectures, but lecture slides. And she started lecturing her class based on those slides. And well, the way she explained stuff, well, we didn't understand anything. She went off on tangents, and she was always distracted, and like it was really hard to ask questions because you didn't really know what to ask questions about, because like she confuses you with all her tangents. And
What is tangent,
like
by the way?
then yeah, and then I went online and I found the same course of lectures with the same slides by lectured by a Stanford professor, and those lectures are much better. Like she literally explains this concept of the noisy channel model for 10 minutes, and I understand nothing. Then I switched to that Stanford professor, and he just says one sentence and I understand everything.
Mhm.
So it's just bizarre, but at the same time, I still managed to perform well in that class. So ultimately, it doesn't really matter. It's just I was frustrated with her lecturing style, and also with my teammates who didn't really want to work, or I don't know, maybe they were just inexperienced.
Okay. Can we talk about in general what's going on in the AI world and how your understanding of it changed during the past year?
Well, a lot of a lot is going on in the AI world. What exactly are you willing to talk about? Because like there's so many different fields of AI, fields of application. You can talk about AI from even from the perspective of
Well,
philosophy, like
okay.
an AI can philosophize too.
Mhm.
Like you know that recently OpenAI uh, published this GPT-3 model, and it's not, we don't have the access to that model, but we know that it can generate text extremely close, that is extremely close to the human-like text. And you can
Mhm.
also train that model. As far as I know, it's as far as I know, it's available online, and you can actually fine tune the model um, on, for example, philosophical books and texts, and
Mhm.
it can produce philosophical philosophy. I don't know,
Mhm.
philosophical thoughts, maybe. Um,
That's interesting, but I haven't found anything yet.
yeah,
Like
yeah, it's just my
yeah,
idea.
yeah,
It's just
on the
something
internet.
that I came up with right now.
Yeah,
It's just I know
unless
that you can apply it everywhere.
yeah, unless those people who are write some Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy or whatever, they are just not AI behind them. But
Right,
but in
right.
general, yeah, I guess it would be a kind of really big event. I mean, in philosophy, probably if it writes something like Wittgenstein Tractatus or
Well, it only writes about some,
critic of pure reason, like
yeah,
something like that.
but
It will be.
the problem is the AI is fairly stupid. Like it only writes about something that it has already read about. So
Mhm. So
it's unable to come up with its own ideas.
it can't produce anything new, right? Basically, can
Well,
check.
it doesn't
check.
rewrite the text, right?
Mhm.
But like
Can-
it still only has the information that it's been presented with.
Yeah,
It
and it's
can
like
like reason out
information.
new things.
It's mostly information about information, right? It's not the information about the world. It's like
Right,
you take
right.
text, you interpret it, you make,
Yeah.
deconstruct it, put things together,
Yeah,
and
you just give it some data and it
Mhm,
produces something similar.
mhm.
That's just how it works.
Yeah,
You
but
give it a lot of data, of course.
apart from philosophy, like what you've been studying, like in this in
I
your
was
field,
mostly
yeah.
I was mostly concentrated in the field of computer vision and natural language processing.
Mhm,
In computer vision, well, you know, they keep developing these new object detection algorithms and the performance is much better. But honestly, it's getting kind of boring because yeah, they are making some minor improvements, but I wouldn't say it's like a huge breakthrough. There's also like these segmentation algorithms. Segmentation is basically the same as object detection, but like instead of uh, outputting a bounding box around a person or like an object, it highlights that object, like
mhm,
makes a mask of that object.
mhm,
Um, but yeah, what I do like about the new neural networks is like the way they're capable of generating different things. So for example, there is this clip model that can generate images based on text, and like you can pretty much say, oh, generate me an avocado chair, and it's gonna generate you an avocado chair. That's pretty
mhm.
cool, and I feel
Like,
like
what
there
do you
is a
mean
lot
by
of
by generate? Like to find a picture or to make a picture by
to
itself?
make a picture by
Okay.
itself. Yeah,
Like,
that's amazing because like you can um come up with all sorts of ideas, and like you can probably even
Can it make
come
up
up
a
with
movie?
new,
Can
well,
can it make up a
not a
movie?
movie, but like at least concept art. I feel like it's got a pretty huge application in concept art in the future. Of course, it's not that developed yet, but OpenAI is still working on it. I noticed that OpenAI has been doing a lot of cool things with neural networks. And well, of course, there is also Facebook research, Google research and stuff, but OpenAI like are probably the best in this regard, even though I sometimes can't really find the application of some of their neural networks. Like, for example, yeah, music generation. Sure, it looks awesome. It sounds decent, but at the same time, like, where would you apply that? No, I mean, it's got a lot of applications, of course, probably. Like, for example, non-copyright music. You can just generate music so that it doesn't have any author, so you can use it in your video. But again, it might also have some problems in the future because, again, an AI only generates things based on what it has already seen. So, and there was a problem. I know there is a neural network that can generate images, and it generates cars. No. Well, different art. Okay, yeah. So it can generate different art. And some people were complaining that it pretty much learned how to generate particular pieces of art. And they even wanted to sue the author of the neural network because of that. Because
does it take some original works and just again puts them together, or what's going on?
Well, it might put them together, but sometimes it kind of overfits and it just generates the same image. It kind of
which already had
it
existed
has
before.
already
Okay.
seen, yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe a super close image to that one.
Can we talk about your projects? Which are you working on right now?
Right now?
Yeah.
Well, right now it's holidays. I'm not working on anything. I'm
Well, I
exploring
mean,
the US. But yeah, before that, we were working on text similarity. So like we have a bunch of texts and we want to cluster them into like certain separate categories so that I don't know, it just kind of automates the process of sorting out documents, I guess.
is it like neural network, which
It's a neural network that can
Mhm.
like that takes two texts, for example, and outputs either a similarity score, or it can take one text and output a vector, and then it takes another text and outputs another vector. Then you compare those two vectors together and it outputs the similarity score. Like the closer the vector to each other are, the more similar they are, the texts are.
Yeah, I think I can understand it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like it. Then there was also a project about, it's actually a project that I wanted to work on since probably 2019, and I just didn't get to it for some reason. I was too lazy. But yeah, essentially that project is student attendance prediction or something like that. I don't know what to call it. But essentially what it does is like every time a student walks in a classroom, they look into a camera, and that camera sends the signal to the server. The server makes its own like magic and stuff based on neural networks, and it kind of checks your attendance in the journal. In case the student is present in the database, they're gonna be highlighted as if they're attending the class.
Yeah, but it's like, is it too difficult to build such program? It's basically face recognition and connecting it to
well, it's not just face recognition. It's like it's face detection, because we need to crop the face. Then we
Mhm.
need to, again, it's face similarity. We compare multiple faces to each other. And it's also a liveness detection, because some person might walk in the classroom with a photo, just show the photo to the camera, and um, well, the camera is still gonna recognize it as a person, which is not okay. There needs to
Mhm.
be some like liveness detection and some anti-spoofing. That's all. That's what it's also called.
Okay, so the first project like texts, differentiating certain texts and finding some similarities, and this
Yeah,
one, it's like,
it's kind of similar to that, because like there's also face similarity, but there is
mhm.
all the apart from that, there's object detection and liveness detection, and those are two separate neural networks. So there are three neural networks in total.
Yeah, and I guess the first one is about NLP, like natural language processing, and the second one is
Yeah, it's like computer vision.
mhm.
Um, and
You
the third
mentioned
one
the
was like a competition where we needed to predict based on a bunch of features of different people in the database. We needed to predict who is more likely to get vaccinated against COVID.
mhm.
And yeah, we took 16th place, which is fairly decent, considering the fact that all the other team members never had any experience with data science. So I feel like it was a pretty decent project, and our professor remembered us based on that. So that's also good. I'm also planning to get into a, a research with one of my professors. So
Do you work on
yeah,
a dissertation or something like that?
no, master thesis doesn't exist in this concentration, this field for some
Okay,
reason.
just practical.
Yeah, it's just practical stuff.
Mhm,
Even though I might still write a master's thesis just for fun, I guess,
mhm.
or just to get some experience.
Or maybe just to learn to write.
Oh, to learn to write. Yeah,
Mhm,
that's also an option. Even though I had some experience in writing papers already, but they were mostly for the university. So those weren't like serious journal papers. And apart from that, oh, we're also working on this research project. So we have a bunch of like I'm not even sure if those are like pictures of space or like Milky Way, but what we essentially need to do is we need to find similar regions on one of those pictures. Like we only have like 3 or 4 pictures, and on each picture we need to find similar regions. And uh, why would we need to do that? Because um, we assume that if the regions are similar visually, they're similar in terms of their physical traits. And based on that, we're planning to write a paper.
mhm.
But so far, we're only like 20%, like the progress of our paper is only 20% for now. I mean,
That's
it still works, and I can actually show you a couple of results if you want me to, but
now.
maybe later. Maybe later, yeah. Not necessarily now,
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
because after all, we're recording.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not the best idea.
How much time does learning consume, like of your like daily time? How much time do you spend on learning? Do you have some
On
free
learning?
time? Yeah,
Oh yeah, I have a lot of free time.
a
I would
lot of free
say
time.
I have way too much free time, and that's why I try to like engage with different like research papers, and also I've been looking for an internship, and I finally found it, and it's actually an internship in Silicon Valley.
Mhm.
It's gonna happen next summer. Uh,
Uh, I have one quote from our last talk.
okay, go ahead.
So you said, like, I'm trying to become a Renaissance man. I just started
Oh
reading
yeah,
books, trying to learn something new, something that goes beyond my field of expertise, like AI. So
yeah,
what were those things you've been learning for the last year,
yeah. So
be, be,
I've
besides your field of expertise?
yeah. I've actually been really fascinated about psychology and also neuroscience. And it's not necessarily about reading books. It's also about like listening to podcasts and just videos, watching videos in general, because those are like also kind of like lectures. And I listened to your advice and I started watching a bunch of Andrew Huberman podcasts, and they're
Mm-hmm.
super interesting. I'm
Mm-hmm.
really glad you recommended those to me.
Mm-hmm.
I learned a lot about myself, my body, and I learned how to concentrate better. Like, for example, every time I wake up, I expose myself to light. I
Mm-hmm.
also raise the temperature of the room. I think, well, we have the air conditioning
Mm-hmm.
here. Then I also set my phone to Zen mode for an hour so that I'm not interacting with my phone, because it also kind of allows me to concentrate better. And then I also do some morning exercises. And yeah, then I'm ready for the day. That's like, those are like pretty simple steps, but like they allow you to uh, be more productive for the whole day,
Mm-hmm.
like
Are you still
literally for the whole day.
are you still
And if I,
are you still
mhm,
following his podcast?
yeah,
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 I
I'm still listening to them, but I feel like I'm way too behind on them,
mm-hmm.
because I listen to like 20 minutes of his podcast, then I keep doing my stuff. Like,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe I just walk and listen to like an hour of his podcast, but then I still need to switch to something else, to like, well, because it either gets too overwhelming, like my brain is overwhelmed with information, because he sometimes manages to include like 3 or 4 lectures in one of his podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and I prefer to like kind of get distracted from that sometimes. And it's also a good thing because, well, that's what he said, at least. Like, you only need to concentrate on one thing for an hour, then get distracted, and then yeah, I kind of forget to listen to the rest of it, but then I just come back to it on the next day, and that's how it works for me. I've already listened to like 20 of them.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot. Have you watched some lectures on politics or some social stuff?
Well, I don't necessarily listen to lectures on politics, but
Mhm.
I watch a lot of videos, and that's what helps me understand the political picture.
What kind of videos?
Well, videos about people debating each other and
Mhm.
like
Can you
just
name
arguing with each
can
other.
you name some some
Uh,
figures, some people?
there is this person whose name is whose channel's name is Wash, I
Uh-huh.
think.
Mhm.
I don't know if you know about
No,
him.
no, I don't. I don't watch too much politics.
Yeah, 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 fair enough.
Probably
So,
Jordan Peterson is my main source of information from that field.
well, maybe it's not the best source of information though,
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
like his
I
political
know, I
views.
know, I know. But no, I have conversations with guys. They talk about philosophy too, and about politics and what's going
Yeah,
on.
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really listen to like right-wing politicians that much.
Hmm.
Like Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson, or Steven Crowder are not my cup of tea, even though I
Hmm.
did used to listen to them in the past, like probably a couple of years ago.
Hmm.
Now I feel like I've grown out of it, so to speak. Um, but yeah, so I mostly listen to those videos, and they sometimes talk about like different political issues in the US, mostly US, because, well, I'm in the US and I kind of
Hmm.
need to understand what's going on, and maybe talk to people, have like some common topics for the discussion. But I noticed that people in the US are really big on politics. Like every single person, every time like you start talking about politics, they know everything about
Hmm.
like every issue. I don't know how they manage to do that, but it's pretty cool, I
Hmm.
guess. I mean, uh, it's not that I feel like in Russia it's also the case, but not with every single person.
Yeah, maybe not. It's not as popular as in US. And
Yeah, I would say so.
there are lots of people who are simply disengaged from. all these fields, like me,
Yeah,
like me,
and
for example. I just don't have
yeah,
time to like learn all these debates, what they're talking about, what they're
yeah.
discussing.
I just mostly listen to them for fun and kind
Mhm.
of form my own opinion based on that. But I don't really engage in debates that much because what's the point of engaging in a debate with a random person? Like it doesn't change anything ultimately. It only changes the opinion of one person.
Well, you may better understand yourself, but anyway, let's connect it to human AI interactions. Like
Yeah.
the idea that with this natural language processing, we may basically weaponize AI. So at some moment it may become like a nuclear weapon, but of a different kind, like informational nuclear weapon. So everyone who has an AI, like an
Yeah.
access to AI, you may basically destroy an entire discourse in any language. Like a train
Well,
AI.
I don't know if it's possible, but actually it sounds like a good idea. And now I'd like to try it out actually. Because you can actually just extract a bunch of like text.
Do you like to try out what? Destroy a discourse
No, no, no. I'd
somewhere?
like to try out to train. I'd like to try and train a model that can engage in political discussions with other people
Mhm.
and see how well it works. But of course, it requires a bunch of like data and also a pretty big model, and I might not have enough computational power. But maybe in the future, I might consider working on something like that.
Yeah, so I guess one of the main controversial points in politics, and probably in the US as well as everywhere around the globe,
Hmm.
is like, are you pro or against, these technological advancements and machines, basically? So there are people who hate whatever is going on, and they
Yeah.
try to attack all
Well, those people are
technological.
mostly conservatives, but like there needs to be progress. Otherwise, we're gonna stagnate and like just not develop at all, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Like
but
if we
you see
just
that there.
stop the development of technologies, like what's the point of like living? We need to take risks. I know that it might
Mhm.
destroy us ultimately, but like we need to take risks. And we also, well, a good solution um to like against the total destruction is going to a different planet. Like
Mhm.
for example, Elon Musk is working on this rocket to that goes to Mars and back from Mars to the Earth. Um,
Are you gonna
but
go?
honestly,
Are you gonna go to Mars if there would be an opportunity
I
to
would
to
like
co-
to
to
visit
colonize it?
visit
Mhm.
Mars, but not necessarily live there.
Mhm.
Maybe there's also like the option. I think China went to the moon again, and they're working on colonizing moon or something like that. Maybe I'm wrong though. I
Mhm.
need to look into it. But yeah, it's still pretty fun to think about it. I don't know if we're gonna live up to the point when we actually colonize some planet, but would be cool to see that.
Yeah, but I
For
don't
now,
don't
it's
I don't
too
think it's
hard.
going to be a solution to this. tech-
It's not gonna be a solution, but at least we're not gonna be extinct in case there's
Mhm.
gonna be some like nuclear war or in case AI decides to take over the world.
Do you still believe that AI finally will become self-conscious? And no,
No,
no.
I don't believe it will at some point become self-conscious, but uh I don't believe it's gonna be like it's gonna happen soon. I don't believe it's
Mhm.
gonna happen soon. We
Like
want
at
we
what
want
point it may
like
happen?
you won't be able to see that.
Me?
Maybe in a couple of 100 years.
Oh,
I
okay.
believe.
Yeah, pretty long period of time.
But of course, like we can see that there's this curve of AI development and it's kind of exponential, but it should like uh, plummet at some point, I believe,
Mhm.
or like
But
plateau.
I've learned a bunch of stuff about the difference between what was syntax, semantics. Like in this summer, I've I've listened to John Searle's lectures. I guess
Okay.
couple of courses on, and he talks not too much about artificial intelligence, but he was the guy who came up with Chinese room. I don't know if you're familiar with this argument, like against artificial intelligence. Not against,
No,
but
I'm not familiar with that. Can you tell me about it?
well, in general, the point is that imagine that you are in a room and there's two windows, right? And in this room, there's lots of Chinese papers, and in your from one window you get an input and somebody asks you in Chinese some question, and you have an access to various Chinese characters. So you basically you not understand the question, you basically find information which fits to this question, and then you give an input in a different room.
That's exactly how neural networks work. Yep.
Yeah, and the point is there's no doesn't understand anything. It just it just process the information, but there's no meaning, no semantics. There's just syntax.
Well, yeah, for now is just the way it is, because for the most part, all the AI solutions at this point are practice based. So like application based. So like you train a neural network and you apply it within one domain for one particular task.
Yeah, but at the same time, you may be extremely, I mean, if let's suppose some guy like Elon Musk, for example, has an access to creates his own personal super artificial intelligence. It's basically, it gives you almost superpower. So you may
yeah, sure. But unfortunately, the biggest problem of artificial intelligence these days is they can't learn, neural networks can't learn new information. Like you trained a neural network and you freeze the weights. That's it. It can't learn new information unless you, of course, every
but how
time
about, for example, look at chess, right? AlphaZero. Right, so
yeah, but again,
it created new ways of playing. I mean, you can say that it can't learn new information because
it created new ways of play. But what I'm trying to say is let's suppose you train a neural network to generate text, right? You feed it a bunch of text. It processes the text. It learns the information. But then when you want to generate new text, it only takes the weights that it only takes the information that it already knows.
Yeah, but
and you can't give it more and more information. I mean, you can, but it's.
Do you think
you still need?
Do you think we do it differently? We do it differently. We also
yeah, of course we do it differently.
We have certain input, and then
if we're presented with a new idea, where we change our mind, maybe sometimes.
Well, depends. Usually you try, there's a background of information which you already have, and you try to interpret this information, applying.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is our brains are just more flexible at this point. They can still learn something new, whereas AI these days cannot. Well, unless you force it to learn something.
Yeah, but imagine that you give an AI, for example, it's super powerful, almost infinite computational power, and you give it a task take, for example, some language, whatever, some let's say French. Let's say French, and say let's make convince all French people that they have to commit suicide, something like this, and and it creates certain discourse where it doesn't tell you commit suicide, but basically makes everybody miserable.
Yeah.
And, it completely dominates the media. Everywhere you go, there's you basically get.
Do you believe it's possible though?
I don't know. In a few hundred years, why not? I mean, it's super powerful.
No, I mean, do you believe it's possible to affect someone, affect that large of a group?
Yeah, I think there's
suicide.
Yeah, I believe that it's possible that if you know certain, let's say linguistic code, and you basically know how to.
It's just they're also gonna be influencing each other, though.
Yeah, there must be certain feedback. It's not just you put some information out there and it has a certain effect. It's a process, but still, if you have let's say there's an artificial, the whole point is that there's an artificial network. You give it a task. Your task is to destroy this language. Basically by using some malevolent techniques just destroys the language, and then you give the task to destroy another language.
Well, I don't know if it's possible. I mean, I
Like
don't know.
this
Hard to tell.
famous story, like Babel Tower, whatever, like something like this. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
No,
But what was your point once again? Like I kind of lost the
no,
track
just
of our
thought. I
conversation.
mean, interaction
Okay.
between like
Yeah, yeah.
people and AI, and where all this is going.
Oh, yeah, I mean, maybe it's possible, but like I feel like people are smarter than this, and since they already predicted that AI might take over the world, they're gonna take all the
Yeah, but
precautions.
yeah, what kind of people? I mean, let's suppose some guys who want to destroy the human civilization. They also may have an access
Yeah,
to
yeah,
artificial
sure.
intelligence. They may
Like Elon Musk, for example, who
yeah,
wants to
like
destroy
let's
human
suppose Elon
civilization.
Musk one day wakes up and he had a strange dream and he decides, human beings are evil and we shouldn't spread. Like not just about Mars, we have to just stop, developing, stop growing. And I like, I have this lots of money, lots of power, lots of.
Yeah, sure, he is very influential these
So
days.
what if I just start programming AI to destroy humanity, not to help it, but to do the exactly the
I
opposite?
wouldn't say he's necessarily helping the humanity though. He's trying to like do something, right? He's building rockets. He opened this open AI company. He also has Neuralink, Tesla and stuff. But he's also a businessman, and the main reason
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
doing
sure.
that is to get money, obviously.
Well, I didn't know actually what the main reason, but
Well, yeah,
who knows?
yeah, but it's just like his Hyperloop is
Like
super
what what's
is a
what's
super
the
stupid idea. Have you heard of Hyperloop?
Hyperloop? No,
Yeah.
no.
Hyperloop is essentially like this set of tunnels that he's planning to build under the
Okay, yeah,
ground.
Boring machines.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Hmm.
like, why? Why would you do that? Because like we already have metro trains
Yeah,
and
but
they're
still,
much more effective.
traffic. I mean, to make it easier to reduce
But
traffic
we
and
we have metros for that.
yeah,
And
I know, but
well, okay, yeah, fair enough. I don't know about it either. I don't know what his big picture
yeah, I
is,
don't think
but
like when you're the richest man on earth to make money, it's like it's kind of stupid if you have still thinking about making money or more money.
yeah, I mean, he's probably trying to do his best, but yeah,
Mhm.
he also has some problems. Um, and
Uh, Let me
yeah,
ask you
yeah,
about like brain machine interface. Do you know something about this? Like when we are going to connect to
we're already doing that
yeah, but
actually.
like not. I mean when deep.
Oh, when we transfer our brains to like the Matrix and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. This type
Well,
of thing.
I don't know the exact date. I can't predict the future, unfortunately, but
But is it going to happen
it, it might.
in your
I want to
in your
believe that.
opinion?
In my opinion, it might happen because we already have like these virtual headsets. We have
Mhm.
augmented reality. We have neural networks and stuff. And of course, like we still haven't learned about our brains um, like that deeply, but the field of neuroscience is also developing quite rapidly. So if we combine all those fields together, we might actually get something like that.
And
But again, it's very unlikely that it's gonna happen in our lifespan.
who is going to run all of this? Humans or some cyborgs or who
Who's gonna
who?
run this?
Yeah.
I think people who are alive. My idea of that is people who are about to die are transferred to the Matrix. Let's call it the Matrix.
Oh, okay. So it's like you upload
Yeah,
your experience, your consciousness somewhere
yeah. And
on the internet.
this
Mhm.
consciousness and like these servers are controlled by the people who are still alive. It's just their job.
Yeah, from that point of view, we may say that we are doing it right now. For example, this conversation is going to be uploaded on the internet, and it's probably
Technically, yes.
yeah,
Technically, yes. But
it may
like,
stay there forever.
again, this conversation is going to be frozen in time. Like maybe in 5 years, I'm not going to have the same opinions as I do right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, but you still may go back and listen, and even when you die, somebody else may just listen to
Yeah, yeah, sure.
this conversation.
That's amazing. That's very cool.
Yeah, there's kind of shift to I recently started thinking about more seriously about all this information which you upload on the internet. It's like building a profile essentially.
Building a profile. Yeah,
Yeah, and
exactly.
profile is
Have you
the
heard
more
of the metaverse, by the way? What do you
metaverse,
think of it?
like philosophical concept. Like there's
No. Metaverse is, well, first of all, Facebook renamed themselves. They decided to rebrand and they became
no
Meta,
the company metaverse.
the company, yeah,
What
Metaverse.
are they doing
And
there?
it's like a virtual reality thing where you can interact with people like VR chat.
Hmm.
I honestly don't see that many differences between VR chat and Metaverse, but I guess there's gonna be some big difference. And people are for some reason afraid of Metaverse because, well, Facebook has already been tracking and like um, saving a lot of data on all its users.
Hmm.
And there's even been an interview between Mark Zuckerberg and the government, I think, or was it the government? I don't know. But yeah, some influential people. And they were asking about like the data privacy and all that stuff. And Mark Zuckerberg was sweating.
Hmm.
um, but yeah, so it's kind of a scary concept because like after we kind of start using this metaverse on a larger scale, it might actually know even more about us than it does when we just set our profile picture on Facebook and enter some of our like personal information there.
Yeah, but who
Because,
cares? I mean, like for me, like I definitely view it as so that's well they know a
well,
lot
who
about
cares? It's
myself,
like
and they can use this data to sell me stuff or to manipulate
sure,
my
sure.
my behavior
It's the good side of that thing. But like, what if this data is used to like
to what.
get rid of unwanted opinions, let's say?
Hmm. Maybe.
So yeah, that's actually a nice conversation, and I actually think the same as you do. But there's still people who believe that it's kind of dangerous and scary.
Yeah, it's dangerous. Definitely, it depends on the person. Like for example, for somebody who you know who doesn't want to share their private opinions and views, it's definitely not the
Right.
option. But for somebody who wants to, like for me again, what I'm saying about profilistic is like building a profile. It's uh, I feel less real here in this world than I feel like when I just look at
On the
my,
internet.
yeah. And it's like when I think in the future, you see, the whole point is I'm learning to build it like conversations, talks, writing, and before I guess before we invented the internet and all these technologies, we did the same with texts. So if you go back in history, you read some
Right.
philosophical works, and what exactly is this work? It's a bunch of symbols which you may
Interpret.
look at,
Yeah.
yeah, interpret and just create a picture of somebody who lived like 100 years ago, a few hundred years
Right.
ago. But essentially, like this picture, what is like this text? It's a person, so it's a part of a person. You create,
Yeah.
you take your thoughts, you
And
put
it's
them,
also a part of the history.
yeah, you put them on paper, and
Mhm.
finally it has its own life. Then it
Right.
influences other people. They also start writing books and analyzing your ideas, and there's like it grows by itself. And the same now we have the internet, and it feels like
But now we're overwhelmed with information, though. Like it's really hard to find something meaningful
well, I don't
in
know.
all
For
those
me, it's not hard. Like
sources of I mean,
I
it's not hard for you because you're deliberately searching for that information. Some people might not. Some
yeah,
people are only looking to entertain themselves, and that's why they're using the internet for.
yeah. But
And
essentially, let me
they get
like
depressed because of that.
yeah, develop this point further. So like I'm let's say record 10,000 videos on YouTube or 5,000 videos on YouTube in my lifetime. right?
Mhm.
I put them down there. They are here, and somebody else, like in 100 years, let's say, will find these videos and decide by some whatever reason they may have decide to watch these videos and basically recreate, reconstruct my worldview and try to get through it, like almost, no, maybe not video by video, but let's say watching 100 hours, 1000 hours. And after watching it, I guess it's like you may kind of resurrect in the minds of
Yeah, resurrect yourself.
other
Yeah.
people just because they just get the access to your thoughts through viewing your profile, viewing
What if
your.
it doesn't happen?
I don't know, it doesn't matter. It's like for me again, like it's
Yeah,
like
it's just like a meaning of life.
for me what I'm doing now, it feels as a video game. It's the same damn video game. Instead of making some some armies and fighting in
Yeah.
some digital worlds, I just build in different profiles and see how it works and try to do it better, try to understand better how it works. And you see conversations, for example. What is a conversation? So every time
Right.
I do a new conversation, I figure out something new. I analyze it. I like learn something from it, and then next person, I understand better how to build a
Yeah, kind
conversation
of
with another
suck in
person.
all those people
Right, and there's a kind of
and
like a bottleneck. For
create
example, when you
an
play,
image of yourself.
there's chess, right? You may play chess,
Mhm.
and there's a rating system. So you start at 1000, and every new opponent, he or she has a rating. If you win, you get more points and you grow in rating, and then you play with people
Right.
who are on a on a higher level, and that's how, like, just simply playing multiple games, you may get higher and higher and play with with the best chess players. And the same here. It's like you have a conversation, like you
Yeah.
talk to one person, then you understand, like especially if you are focused on one particular field. For example, I'm studying philosophy, and I'm trying to find people who also study philosophy, can understand it, and with whom I can, and not just philosophies, from different disciplines like science, politics,
Yeah.
media,
But
education.
the ultimate goal is to like understand philosophy better and come up with your own philosophical thoughts, right?
Yeah, not
Like what's the
necessarily even
ultimate goal?
come
What's the
up with
goal
certain
of doing that?
thoughts. Yeah, I'm trying to describe what's like, basically focus on my stream of consciousness,
Mhm.
what's going on around, and trying to unite, like to integrate, like my experience in language, kind of to translate my real experience into linguistic forms. And by language, I don't just mean, written language. It's like what we are doing right now. It's also language.
Right. Right. That's
Yeah.
true.
And it's fine.
That's
It's like,
amazing. That's
it's
awesome.
fine to see on
That's
you.
fun. That sounds like a fun game. Yeah. I'd
Yeah.
play that.
Yeah. You might try.
Yeah, you gotta create your own game.
I already have an idea. Yeah, a couple of ideas for that, but it takes, you know, I think I need
I
a
mean, you can
couple.
actually learn how to program games, and it's
Yeah,
not that hard these days.
I'm thinking about it, but now there's so much. I mean, I'm learning like probably much more than you are learning at your university. I mean, I wait.
Absolute. I totally agree with that. I'm not learning anything, at least for now. Maybe the next semester is gonna be more exciting, but I'm trying to in like get into different fields and
Yeah, but I
like
guess.
learn more about myself. And I also started like learning new skills. Like I bought a ukulele and I've been studying. I've been trying to learn how to play ukulele, and
What is
well,
ukulele?
it's work.
What is it?
Ukulele.
Yeah.
It's like a small guitar.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Does
four
does
string
does it
guitar.
does it help you to relax?
It helps me not to relax, but it also, I mean, it probably helps me relax too, but it also
Mhm.
allows me to make my brain more flexible because again, after listening to that Andrew Huberman podcast, I was like, oh no, I don't have much time because up until the age of 25, our neurons, the neurons in our heads are still forming, but then after that, they kind of stop forming and they're only the connections between neurons are being restructured. And so I'm like, oh,
No, no,
I need to learn new
it's a
skills.
myth. Come on, it's not real.
It's not a myth. It's what Andrew Huberman
Yeah,
said.
but there are certain tricks which you can use to
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely,
to
absolutely.
boost
You can
plasticity.
still that. Yeah, you can still boost plasticity. You can still um form new neurons. It's just they're forming at a much lower rate.
Yeah, yeah. But you
Um,
know, I just, for example, I started studying English way after
yeah, sure.
25,
Absolutely.
and it still
Yeah,
works
yeah.
well, and definitely requires certain neural restructure.
Yeah, but it also means that you had to make some sacrifices.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah,
probably gave up on some of your previous memories even, or not necessarily memories, but skills that you had,
yeah. I see.
like playing games maybe. Maybe that's one of the skills because you stopped playing games, you started like engaging those neurons, like
Yeah,
instead of
yeah.
playing games, now they're
Playing different types of games, just
different, playing
you know,
different types of games.
recording videos. But you know, I think like worrying about that after 25 years you'll not be able to learn or to be as quick as you are right now. Yeah, I think it's all nonsense. Like you may study basically for your entire life.
Yeah, I don't argue with that. I know it's just like from the neuroscience
Mhm,
perspective, it's just
mhm.
you're learning faster when you're young.
Yeah, but do you need to learn faster? That's the point. You'll be more mature, and then you just get more like you know
Yeah, but it
go
doesn't
go
mean I
go
shouldn't
more
learn
in
right
depth.
now.
Yeah, you get more experience. Like
Yeah, I
before
just
20.
want to form as many neurons in my head as possible. Well, I can. And that's the exact reason I started playing it. And also I've always wanted to start playing some musical instrument, and I never got the opportunity because like my parents never sent me to any musical school, and like
Mhm.
I wasn't extremely passionate about music at that point, but maybe I would have been if I was sent there.
What do you just play the instrument or you know watch some videos on it?
I
Okay.
watched some videos how to play the instrument, and then I started like trying to play the instrument. And it's
Mhm,
really, at first it was hard, but then I kind of started to realize that my brain is actually like learning, like there's muscle memory, and this muscle memory is kind of also connected to your brain, I guess.
mhm,
And it means that I already formed some neurons that are responsible for these particular muscle memory. But another problem is like I cannot sing and play at the same time. I still need to practice that.
mhm. Are you
And
trying
I also need, yeah.
to
Uh,
sing? Yeah, it's gonna be funny, I
yeah, I
guess.
mean, why not? It would have been funny. But yeah, it would be cool. It would be cool.
How much mental energy do you have in terms of like on daily basis? Like, can you learn for 5 hours, for 8 hours, for 10 hours on a productive level? That
If it's required, I can learn for as long as I need to.
well, I
But
mean, like you have 16 hours a day, right?
mhm,
How
yeah,
much time do you need until you become tired?
probably it's hard to tell really because I usually just do the work I'm supposed to do, and then I start doing something else like it doesn't mean I'm not being productive. I'm just doing different activities. Like I like walking a lot, and
Mhm,
I like exploring new places. And I also feel productive while doing that because first of all, I'm exploring new things. I take pictures and I have something to remember. And apart from that, walking is just healthy in general. Like recently I went to Austin, for example, and I walked there I went there for 5 days, and I every single day I was walking for like 5 hours a day.
mhm. 5 hours a day.
5 hours a day.
Wow.
Yeah, my feet hated me for that, but
It's like
at least it was fun.
20 kilometers or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
around somewhere around that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But I really like walking. I really enjoy that process. And I also like while walking, I'll call some friend and we will talk about like either some philosophical topics or just our lives in general. And it also kind of makes me feel productive because like I socialize, I engage in like I learn something new too from those people. And
Are you still doing self-talk?
yeah, yeah, I still do that
Uh,
every day.
wow. Did you change time like or it's still like 30 minutes?
Uh, Actually, I remember after I just came to the US, I was doing that for like an hour a day. Now,
Mhm.
since I mostly I talk a lot with other people. I probably talk to myself for 20 minutes after I wake up,
Hmm.
and then I just call somebody and talk to them.
Do you do recording or it's just talk?
I don't usually record myself. Well, at least not anymore. I
Hmm.
used to do that, but then I realized that I'm not listening to those recordings, and the main purpose that that thing serves is the timer of like how long I talked.
Hmm.
And I kind of stopped
Yeah,
keeping
but you might
track of
just
that.
start, like
I kind of
it's
decided to be
it
more
doesn't take
free in
it
this
doesn't
regard.
take anything just to save them, and probably you'll be interested to listen it after 5 years or 10 years. Imagine you
Would
grow.
be cool, but like I gave up on that idea after I reinstalled my operating system because all my previous recordings got
Uh-huh.
erased.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, that was pretty sad. But like I still have a couple of old talks,
Hmm.
probably somewhere in VK or on Telegram. Um, yeah, it's just I recorded a couple of my messages to friends.
Do you think about making videos or producing some content
Yes, yes.
as a way to learn, or just do something?
Yeah, I've actually had this idea in mind for like probably a year already, if not longer. I
Hmm.
wanna kind of inspire people by creating different neural networks, but those neural networks are not supposed to be like super complicated or hard or super exciting, but they should be fun to build. And I also like want to learn how to build like small robots and just uh, like make those videos to inspire other people to get into the field of artificial intelligence or
Hmm.
robotics. And well, yeah, I feel like ultimately it's gonna make a huge impact because a lot of people are gonna be willing to learn more stuff about it, and they're also gonna realize that it's not as hard as it appears to be, because a lot of people I noticed every time I mention artificial intelligence, they say, oh wow, it must be so hard, it must be like you must know a lot of mathematics and like probability theory and whatnot. Yeah, of course it's nice to know that, but like to start, you only need to know the basics, and like
Hmm.
it's not that as hard as it appears to be.
Do you think it's possible to do it like a hobby, like not fully
Absolutely,
involved, just
absolutely,
couple of hours a day?
absolutely. I've been
Hmm.
planning to do that, and probably I am at some point gonna do that.
Hmm.
At least try, because like I feel like I'm gonna regret it if I don't try it, you know? Um,
How long are you supposed to stay in America?
uh,
Two
it's
years?
either an hour and a year and a half
Hmm.
or 2 years and a half, because
Hmm.
I might also get into an internship for a year
Do you want
after
to
the Fulbright program.
do you want to leave in America, or you want to get back?
Well, I mean,
Or
it's not the best, it's not the worst idea to live in America,
Mhm.
the US. And I mean, it's not the worst country to live in, so why not? But at the same time, it's not really my end goal. My end goal is to actually travel a little bit,
Mhm.
see different cultures, and talk to different people. I have like after playing VR chat for so long, like I've been playing VR chat for probably 500 hours already. Um,
Just go,
I met a lot of people. Yeah,
talking to people. Mhm.
just socializing, talking to people.
Mhm.
I realized that I have so many friends all around the world now, and
Mhm.
I'd like to visit all of them. Well, at least some of the close ones. I
Mhm.
have a friend from Canada. I have a friend from Austria. We talk pretty often. Then I have a couple of friends from Argentina,
Are they
France.
also into artificial intelligence, or?
No, no, no. They're just, I mean, some of them are, but
Mhm.
like it's not their main field of concentration.
Mhm.
Um, like the guy from Canada is into politics mostly, and also
Mhm.
data science. Well, data science is close to artificial intelligence, but it's not quite the same. mostly data analysis, I'd say.
Okay, okay.
So he analyzes the data manually.
Do you anticipate some big changes in the world in near future, like 5 years, 10 years? Maybe not necessarily in artificial intelligence, but in general, like maybe in politics, maybe in science.
Well, I mean, there must be some big changes. I don't know what changes they're gonna be. Well,
Maybe some
perhaps
new,
in
some new.
5 years, the artificial intelligence will be even more developed.
No, I remember just, as if it happened yesterday, 2017. I was very influenced by, these talks, and I've read this article by Tim Urban and Elon Musk's Neuralink, and I was thinking, oh, in
Yeah, I
five
think
years,
Neuralink is gonna be a big one in
yeah,
five
I was thinking
years.
in 5 years, just everything is going to be like nobody is going to work anymore because like robots
I
will
mean,
replace
actually, yeah,
everybody.
you're right to an extent because, for example, this framework for artificial intelligence called TensorFlow was published, became open source in 2015, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
pretty
but
much the beginning of the whole artificial intelligence development, because there are so many people now who just do their own research and write their own papers, and that framework made it much easier for people to like work with AI.
yeah, but still, no. According to those views which I held 2017, I consider myself now very gullible. Like what I believe and what I was thinking. Well, now it seems there are some, of course, changes and probably huge, but on average,
I mean, it's just they're not gonna happen
it's like
fast as we think they are.
yeah,
Like
it's not
people
like
tend to overestimate themselves.
it's not like an invention of a new internet or something like that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
can you imagine something of such such
Well,
power?
Neuralink is gonna be big. We're probably gonna be able to like finally connect neural networks to our brains, and like even now we are already capable of reading other people's minds, and I'm pretty sure that field is gonna be developed even more. Like that we can actually read people's minds by thanks to AI, because AI can interpret brain signals and convert them
In language.
into text. Yeah,
Yeah, but I
it's
guess
pretty
it's
cool.
very, very primitive yet.
It's primitive, but I'm pretty sure in 5 years it's gonna be a huge deal.
Okay, let's do some.
So
Let's do some blitz and basically
sure.
questions. Just you may answer in a few sentences.
Okay,
So who is the wisest person right now?
who is the wisest
Yeah,
person in the world?
on the planet. Yeah, in the world.
That's you caught me off guard with this question. It's hard to tell. Probably
Don't think too much.
the
Just
wisest person.
the first guy who comes up to your mind.
Wisest person. Okay, I know
Yeah.
one guy. I've been listening to a lot of his like psychological talks and therapy. His name is Dr. K. I don't know if you've heard of him. I think he's
No.
very wise in
Okay.
terms of like he knows how to solve pretty much any psychological problem by just talking to people.
Okay. Okay.
He's a therapist.
Who is the happiest person in the world?
The happiest person in the world.
Yeah.
Some ignorant people probably who
Okay.
know nothing about like
Okay. Okay. The most important person.
most important person. Well, the only person that comes to my mind is probably Elon Musk. He's very influential. He's important. He's probably gonna be big in history.
Okay. The most important ideas and knowledge in general.
The most important ideas.
Yeah.
Knowledge about neuroscience, I believe. The
Neuros
better we know ourselves, our brains, the better we know the outside world too, and like
neuroscience in terms
capable
of
of developing
studying the
ourselves.
brains, or understanding consciousness and some
Understanding brains in general and consciousness. Consciousness is like a subset of that understanding.
Ideas. What kind of ideas?
Ideas.
Yeah. What kind of ideas?
What kind of ideas? What?
The most important ideas.
The most important ideas. Uh, I want to say the same. I want to say
And
ideas
then,
about our brains.
okay, like brains, what is it, like how they work? How
Yeah, the
does
way
it?
they work, like if we actually realize how our brains work, we're probably going to be able to even develop artificial intelligence, general artificial intelligence.
Okay.
Of course, we're going to have to change the structure of neural networks. And actually, yeah, sorry, can I
Yeah, sure,
interrupt you for a
sure.
second? Recently there was this new paper called liquid neural networks, and those are basically neural networks that are, instead of learning discrete functions, they're learning continuous functions, meaning that they might ultimately have like almost infinite memory, or at least adaptive memory or something like that. That I feel like it's gonna be a new breakthrough in the field of AI
It's kind of
in the future.
neocortex of
Yeah, it's
artificial.
just they're gonna be more adaptive, I think.
Okay, okay. Uh, the best way to waste your time.
Best way to waste your time,
Yeah.
walking.
Okay. What does it mean to be a good person?
To be open-minded.
An evil person?
Evil person,
Yeah.
to be judgmental.
Okay. What do you want to change in the world and in yourself?
Um, in myself, I want to change a lot of things. Like I want to
Name
develop
just few.
constantly. Well, first of all, well, I feel like I've done a pretty good job in socializing better and
Mhm.
like becoming less anxious around people and accepting the cringe, so to speak.
Mhm, mhm,
Um, but in the world, I would say like would be nice if there were less people who judge you based on your interests or like views and ideas. Like people, if people were to be more open-minded in general, the world would have been a better place. There would be more productive arguments at least.
mhm.
And the
This,
arguments, like you know what productive arguments are, right?
well, it's hard to imagine, but I suppose that it's when two people or two groups of people listen to each other, try to understand their points,
Yeah, exactly.
and
Exactly. Because I noticed that in a lot of debates, even political debates,
mhm,
they just don't listen to each other. They
mhm,
just
mhm,
keep saying their points and kind of bring in like kind of gathering more audience based on their arguments. And well, it's just not the way it's supposed to work. People are supposed to solve issues and not just
yeah, but again,
convert people to their
yeah, what kind
views.
of people? Politicians, I guess it's exactly what
Yeah,
they're
politicians.
they're
Yeah.
must to do. I mean, if they start
Yeah,
listening to
but
each
like
other, then
they,
nobody is going to pay attention to
for
them.
example,
Nobody's
in the
going to elect
US,
them. Hmm.
yeah, that's true. That's true. But in
Hmm.
the US, that's like you either believe this or you believe that.
Or
Like there is
you,
no in between.
so no left. You either a leftist or rightist or like center. Are they centrist, by the way?
Well, probably, but like for some reason they're judged by both leftists and right
Mhm. The worst,
and the right.
the worst thing, right?
The worst thing,
To be.
the worst type, like to be
Mhm,
ignorant, to be neutral, I guess.
mhm.
But yeah, so like the problem is they're not debating issues. They're only debating like to gain more audience and more votes, and that's kind of
Mhm.
a problem.
Do you think that there like is it even possible to debate like if there are two different type like again leftist rightist so some are for traditions, some are for innovations,
Progress.
yeah, and like what do you want to debate? I mean, you can't change people's minds. They may listen to you, but they still are gonna you know be a they still
Yeah,
gonna
but like you can
push
still change
their own
people's minds
points.
if you challenge their beliefs. But they don't want their beliefs to be challenged. They
Yeah,
don't
but
even listen to.
what's the point if you like if you decide to, it's the same as you like for example imagine yourself studying in depth the right wing, and
Yeah,
understanding their points. Like, are you willing to
right.
accept their point? Are you willing to study them? Because this like
Yeah,
this.
I can
I mean,
study them. I can try to understand their points, but like every time I try to understand them better, the more I understand them, the less they make sense.
yeah, exactly. That's probably like you see the whole
It's also the case in the right community,
yeah, and
probably.
they have the same mind, like just different mindsets. Like,
Yeah, but like different mindsets, it's understandable, but like there are some issues in the world that need to be solved. They need
mhm,
to try to solve those issues instead of talking about like garbage.
mhm. Okay. Well, I guess this the right place to end it. Yeah, I hope we're going to have a conversation next year. Like,
Yeah, sure. Sounds good.
see
I don't mind.
how far you can go in artificial intelligence in a year.
Yeah,
Thank you
we'll
for a
see.
conversation.
Yeah, thank you. It
It's
was
nice.
really nice talking to you.
Yeah,
And
sure.
yeah,
I
it's
guess
always a pleasure.
yeah, I guess I'll stop it here.